So if you see me
Yep.
doing this with my hands, I'm reading something. I'm learning.
I don't I
I'm
don't
being
I
Captain
don't know
Slow.
I don't know what to
Yeah.
do with my
All right.
hand.
Calm down, Ricky
Uh
Bobby. We ain't even fast.
but I want to go fast,
Well, wanting to go fast and going fast are two different things.
right? Well, anyway, welcome everybody to this episode of the Full Send Off-Road Podcast. Once again, Bruce isn't here. It's getting to be a normal thing and I don't like it.
The man's got to work.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I totally do. We do this for fun. This is not our full-time job. We have full-time jobs on the back end. On the back end. We have full-time jobs in our normal lives. Um, as a matter of fact, my phone was blowing up today. Uh, so on this episode, we're gonna talk axles, and this is gonna be a short episode. It's gonna be more of a tech talk on this one. There might be a little disputes and cussing a little bit because that's just what we do.
We
But
like to bicker.
we don't bicker.
We bicker.
All right, we bicker a little bit.
Strongly disagree with each other.
First things first. Because I want to do this now. That way I don't forget later. And if we are in a short episode, it's a good time to do it. And this episode is brought to you by, wait for it, anticipation, Trashy Inc. Not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. Make sure you visit them, buy some merch at trashyinc.life. 361 Racing, don't mess with Texas. Visit their Facebook page at Texas Side by Side Racing. Dale's Fun Center, giving family fun for over 40 years. Make sure to visit dalesfuncenter.com for your next Kawasaki or Honda. And then KB Longhorn Welding, LLC. Visit them on Facebook at KB Longhorn Welding. I have been getting compliments on the steps that KB Longhorn Welding built for my Honda. A lot of people have liked those steps, and you said
That
so
dude,
yourself after getting the lift and everything done. They fit the machine.
that dude's okay.
That dude's okay.
No, after you did the long travel kit on the Talon, the with the stance of the machine now, the width of the steps fits the machine better.
Right,
It doesn't look out of place.
right.
So, but no, the steps are actually for what they are, being a basic setup. Um, like the steps are stout, so like I've
Yeah, like
stepped
I,
on the side of your machine and like jumped up and down on them, and they don't move.
I
So
like them. I really like them. I like that. Now I would like to do something a little different as far as instead of the expanded metal grating, but that's an aesthetic thing.
yeah, that's cosmetic.
Yeah. Uh, but
So and Corey can fix that up for you. So
yeah. It's just when we originally designed them and whatnot, there was one thought process in mind, and that was not to hold any type of mud at all. And they have served that purpose, but now I'm kind of like, all right, I'm in the process of dressing it up, so I kind of want to make it look better. So, like I said, it's an aesthetic thing. If you can't tell, repping merch, trashy. Make sure to go buy their shirts. They've got some pretty cool shirts, hats. Um, didn't they just do? They had the green one for St. Patrick's Day. I don't know if they
yes,
have any more of those, but those are really cool.
yes, I
And
have to
then
send Cabo a message because I'm due for a new trashy hat.
I I need to get on there and order some myself. Speak of hats, you see the one I'm wearing right now, that Silverback Garage. Huge shout out to those guys doing everything to my
This
Talon
side.
when
Whoop,
yeah,
whoop, whoop, whoop.
yeah, grab it right.
Camera's backwards. Camera's backwards. Got
You
me all
look like an
screwed up.
idiot.
I know. I am an idiot.
It's right there. Look, it's right there. You go. You figured it out.
Anyway,
Yeah, huge shout out to those guys. I mean, they've absolutely done a killer job on my Honda when I didn't have the time to work on it myself. Um, and then the sound system and going through it and building a custom sub box for me, for all your audio needs and custom sub boxes enclosures, give Justin a call over there at Silverback Garage in Victoria, Texas.
Those
And
guys
then,
get you fixed up with anything.
well, I was gonna say, and then
If
for
the
your
machine don't run, yeah, if the
regular
machine don't
maintenance,
run
don't talk
right,
to Justin, talk to Adam.
machine don't run right, they can get you fixed up with that stuff too. So,
Yeah,
those guys are
those guys,
awesome.
yeah, they've been killing
So
it, dude. Like
they did
I'm ecstatic with how the Honda turned out. So,
they did
unfortunately, I haven't had the time to do it. So,
they did the last minute crunch to get you ready for Mud Nats and get
ooh,
Bodacious
yeah,
put
and
together and get that out there for Freddie so he could race.
not to mention, changing radius rods on their own machines and getting some of that stuff taken care of.
Yeah,
Like,
so yeah, because
um,
it us at the off-road industry, I don't know what it is, but it doesn't matter if it's a big event or if you're just going riding for the weekend. We are all procrastinators and we are all working on stuff at the last minute, if not still working on stuff when you get to the park.
ooh, my friend Anthony, that is Captain Be Late. That guy, I love him to death, but man, where you at, Anthony? I'm on my way. That's the only answer you need to know.
So,
So,
but
this episode, like I said, this episode we're going to talk a little bit about axles. I had some experience with some axles that I'm not too fond of here recently, and I need some opinions. I need some of that Captain Slow instructions on proper axle
uh,
dimensions and proper and no, no, no.
don't
Go ahead. Go ahead.
don't
Give me
don't.
your opinion.
Uh, well, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Now, whether you
Right.
like it or not, it's a whole nother story.
Well,
Um, no,
that's it.
so axles is kind of a lot of people get intimidated by them. It's a pretty simple setup if you really break it down to what it is. There's everybody refers to them as either axles or CV axles, but
Well, I've heard
um,
them called prop shafts too, but
yeah, it just depends on who you talk to. So like most, all right, I'm really gonna jump down a rabbit hole just because you
don't no, don't do
brought
that.
up the prop
Don't
shaft deal.
no.
But anyway,
I quit.
I'll leave that for another episode. The as far as the CV joints go, like there's there's probably 6 to 10 different types of CV joints. The most common one we see is, I don't even know if I pronounce it right. The guy that designed it's basically called a Zeppa joint. Um, it's 6 balls inside of a cup in a cage, and that's what gives you your movement, your range. But we're all limited on as far as how far we can flex those. We like to run big lifts and stuff like that so we can clear big tires. And that that setup is like we're limited to like 30 degrees of range before we actually start pulling those axles apart. Um,
Well,
you
see,
told me
and
you
that's
told me
that's
today that, or not today, yesterday, you had issues with those axles pulling out,
and that's just it. I call it how I see it. We're not sponsored by any big companies or anything like that. In the past, I have absolutely loved Super ATV. Like their products have been phenomenal. Um, when I did this TTC lift and everything, one of the things I did was check with reviews and stuff like that, and everybody said they absolutely loved the lift. They weren't too fond of the axles. Now, the axles come with the lift. They were part of the deal. So I went ahead and did it. And their, Super ATV sent axles over straight from the factory, Rhino 2.0s. And I was actually pretty impressed with how they came out of the box. They looked good. They felt great. Like they didn't feel crunchy or anything like that. And then putting them in, we were kind of like, we're having to stretch them a little bit to get them in. And then first ride, wasn't even doing anything, cruising down the trail, and go to turn around and I pull an axle. Now, granted, they stood behind their warranty and they warranted it like that, no problem. Absolutely wonderful on the warranty. But put a new axle in, everything felt great. Went riding again, went to go turn around it on another trail, and now I've got 2 busted axles.
That's
All the
just it.
consensus,
I
all the
saw them
consensus that
today.
we've talked to is they're not even broke, they're just pulled.
Yeah, so I looked at them today. You didn't twist the boots on them. I think they just popped the circlip out of the inner brace where those bearings set.
But
I think they can be popped back together. My deal is like I was telling you today when we were
they're
looking at it
they're
was
just gonna pull back apart.
I think they look to me they look at least 2 inches too short.
Well, so that I don't know if they're too short. I don't think they're too short because that's what the with
Well,
the lift and everybody I've talked to, that's the length that they call for. The issue is talking to a few guys who have had similar issues with similar setups, very
mhm.
similar setups. They found going to a different axle because of the movement, like you were discussing earlier, that movement, the plunging in, the sliding out, the movement of the cage itself is just better with some of these other companies. So
No,
that's where I'm at now is trying to figure out which one I want to go with without breaking the bank. Because some of these are high dollar. And
oh,
I
absolutely.
understand why the racers are running them because they're great axles. But to the average Joe who just wants a good axle that he's running down the trail,
So
$700 an axle is a little steep.
uh, a- a- yeah, for the average Joe, yes. Because remember we went through this last year when I pulled that ball joint and I lost that front axle on the KRX, and I'm still
Move
running
closer to the mic.
I'm still running stock axles, but Kawasaki's very proud of their axles. It's $825 per axle,
Right.
so for the price of one axle from Kawasaki, I can go with Super ATV and buy 4 axles.
Right. But you're still essentially on a stock setup.
Correct, other than forward arms and portals.
Right, but
Correct.
that's what I'm saying.
You yeah,
You didn't take a stock machine and completely change all of the suspension.
yeah, you actually went to a
I
what
went to a long arm
I
kit.
yeah, I would long arm, long travel kit. Um,
I
your
took
machine's
I,
got is long travel now. Um,
I took my machine just so everybody knows that's listening. I took my machine from a stock 1000X width, which is 64 inches, and I went with the Texas Tough Customs 3-inch long travel kit for the X, which essentially it takes it from the X width and makes it the same width as an R, which is 68.4, and pushes the A arms forward 3 inches to make more clearance for bigger tires. I'm also
so
running portals.
I have a question for you, just because I'm thinking about it right now. Because you went from 64 inches to essentially a 68-inch wide machine.
Yeah,
Those current axles, the Super ATV Rhino 2.0s that are in there.
those are serial numbered for the R.
Right, which is fine, but what I'm getting at is not only did you go wider, but you pushed everything 3 inches forward. Is that 2 inches that you need? You know what I mean? The causing those Rhino 2.0s to pull out the way they did. Follow what I'm saying?
So,
So
so
not only did you go wider 4 inches, but you also pushed forward 3 inches.
it's actually not wider 4 inches. It's really close, but it's when you actually measure it, I didn't gain 4 inches. Uh, it's I don't know because once again, this
Because that
just happened. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's why I haven't just I'm gonna buy these axles and just do this.
well,
Is
I'm kind of
I'm
curious.
trying to get down to the bottom of it to figure out exactly
Yeah.
what's going on so I can make a proper decision. But from the research that I've been doing, talking to other guys who have had similar setups or are currently on similar setups that had the same issue, They've simply gone to a different axle. One of them said that he went to Demons. The other one said he went to Monsters. Another guy said he went to Turner's. So those guys have all said, and grain of salt, of course. I
Right.
do appreciate the input, but without seeing it firsthand, it's really hard to take somebody's word.
Oh
But
yeah, absolutely. And
they've
I'm kind of
they've all said they've all said ever since they switched to those, they haven't had the issue since.
right.
So my
So
question
and it
is it something in the manufacturing process? Is it in the design, or
well, and that's
are those axles just built so much better that they're holding up? I don't know.
so I've ran the original Rhinos from Super ATV before on another machine, and you know as well as I do, you have a bunch of people that bitch, moaned, and groaned. Oh, Rhinos are trash. I'm breaking them every time I go out and ride. I rode for 2 years on Rhino axles and beat the snot out of that last machine and never had an issue.
And that's when I did the research on the Rhinos, just like every product, you have the ones that, oh, straight out of the box it was broke. This thing's junk. Don't buy it. 1 star. Blah 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 blah. And then you have people that are like, oh, I've been running it for 10 years and I ain't never had an issue. So like
Right.
you get the mix, and you have to make your own judgment and go, all right, well, the pros outweigh the cons, so on and so forth. And that's why I went with the Rhinos, because it came from a reputable company that I was like, all right, let's see how these hold up. They come with the kit. I'm gonna do this. And unfortunately, and I'm not looking to change the rears. The rears look like they're holding up just fine. There's no play in them. They're a good fit. They're not stretched. They're not pushed or anything. So is it just there's not enough movement in the front? Or is there too much movement in the front from my machine? That's what I gotta figure out.
I just me making a educated guess from what I've seen on your machine and knowing what changes were made. I think it's a combination between the travel that you have now with the long travel kit and those forward arms being pushed 3 inches forward. Because looking at your machine and knowing how it was before, it looks more than 3 inches.
But it's not.
Like that it pushed forward. You follow what I'm saying?
Measure, yeah, but that's just it. It's not. Measurement wise, it's not. It it looks it because the new trailing arms in the rear pushed the rear back.
No, I'm not even accounting for the rears being pushed back. I'm just saying
Yeah, but that adds to
that
perspective as far as the length of the machine.
no, I'm talking
It
about
looks.
I'm talking about where the tire was placed versus in relationship to the inner fender.
Yeah, but I had 1.5 inch forward A arms before I did these 3 inch.
Not on this suspension. It was on 64-inch suspension with
Right.
stock axles.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. When we measured it though, I didn't gain more than 3 inch. I didn't even gain 3 inches. I only gained like 2.6 of
Over the
forward.
inch and a half forwards.
Yeah. No, not
Okay, so
over. Not over total. Stock wheelbase. Over the 1.5 inch, I only gained like an inch. I want to say an inch and like right at an inch, not even quite 2 inches.
okay, so you're talking 2.5 to 3 inches total of moving those
Total.
axles forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Total.
Yeah. Total.
Plus 4 inches of width.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
No.
So if you throw it
Yes,
if
I'm
you're
following
you're
what you're
talking
saying, but I'm
about
telling you, I'm telling you, like I understand what you're saying, that it could be, and I'm receptive to the fact that it could be. But from the research, what I'm getting at is from the research that I've done, there's not just 3 or 4 of these lifts out there. This company's been in business for a long time. They've been building lifts pretty much almost since the
I'm
Talon
not
came
even
out.
that's just it. I'm not
So,
even talking about Texas Tough Customs.
but
I'm
but
talking
you
about the
are
axles themselves.
you're
Okay,
saying
so
if
they've
he's building
always
the
used
lift,
Rhino. You've always used Rhino 2.0s.
well, ever since they came out, yeah.
So is it a Rhino 2.0 issue?
That's what I'm trying to say is I
So
don't know if it's an axle issue or if it's the lift issue.
anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, um,
So
so
back
back
to
to axles. So I'm just bear with me. So I'm looking at those monster axles you were telling me about, specifically for the Honda Talon 1000R for a 22 and a 23.
right.
So that technically that would be your machine, correct? For
What
front
22 or
axles,
20? See, and that's
it's
so hold on. So that's another thing. When we got those axles,
mhm,
right? I have my machine is a 2022.
mhm,
Honda changed the thread pitch
mhm.
on the front axles. We know that because I had to have my axle nuts
For
machined
the
to fit.
portals changed. Yeah.
The new axles that came from Super ATV,
Mhm,
we had to go back to 2019
mhm.
uh portal axle nuts.
But you see what I'm saying?
So that's what I'm wondering is are the 2019s just a hair skinnier? You know,
I,
shorter,
the,
just a hair short. Those axles are they just
you know as well as I do. You can put a lift on. You can take two identical machines, regardless of manufacturer, two identical machines and put Super ATV arms or high lifter arms on it on one machine and do the same thing to the next machine, and they're a little bit differently because of manufacturing processes.
right?
Regardless whether it's from the aftermarket product or it's from the OEM manufacturer itself. Chassis points are a little bit different. The machine A is square where machine B is a half inch off
Okay.
because this machine was built on Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning, and machine B was built at 5 o'clock Friday afternoon.
Okay.
So all these
I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is
is there a
you
difference
like
between the 19 and the 22?
well, I know there's a difference in the between the 19 and 22 because Honda changed the thread pitch. What
But
I don't know is
is there actually a little bit more difference than
it,
what we
it
know as far as just thread
yeah,
pitch on an axle?
well, so with the new 23s and stuff like that, you have the what they call the S series,
Mhm.
which I don't know all the details behind it just because I've been explained the difference a half a dozen times and they're all half a dozen different stories. Some of them say that the everything's all the suspension and everything's pushed in a little bit tighter for a better turning radius. Others say that the arms are completely different from the 22s. And then I hear, well, if you just buy the regular Talon, not the S model, then it's all the same, blah, blah, blah. So it varies. So the reason I bring this up is, for instance, um, you brought up that what are you looking at? They say 22, 23.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the monster axles. So I've never heard of these before, and I'm not saying that they're a horrible brand. I just have no experience with them. But the interesting part of what sticks out to me is the 22 23. It's 2 year specific,
Yep.
but reading this,
Well,
it's a
that's
high performance axle that can fit stock length all the way up to a 4-inch lift kit, which is great. Okay. But if you look a little bit more, not only do you have the plunge and the extend in the cup itself.
are you looking at the R's or the X's? Because I found them earlier as an X. Couldn't find them as
No,
the X.
this is for a Talon 1000R.
Okay.
So not only does
Might
it
have you
have
send me that link.
the plunge in the actual cup, the plunge and the extend in the cups themselves,
Uh-huh.
but it actually has a third place to plunge with an additional 60 millimeters in the center of the axle. So I have seen this typically what you see this on is 2-piece drive shafts in 3/4 ton and 1 ton trucks.
That's what I was gonna say. It sounds like a slip yoke almost.
That's exactly what it is. So I've seen this setup on one OEM side by side, and that was done by Articat on the double X on the rear axles. That was an issue with the Robbie Gordon designed rear suspension, that they were having issues with the axles popping out, and they went to this style, basically a slip yoke in the middle of the axle
So my
to
question
basically to lengthen itself under
under load.
droop and compression of the suspension.
So now with that, the type of riding we do, is it booted or is it an open slip? Like for instance, we're in sandy area.
Nope.
So
So it's on the inside, on it would be on your inner cup, and it's basically it's an extended boot. So it's still sealed.
oh, so that's what I'm getting.
It's a sealed slip yoke is what it is. And my my only concern would be how strong is that actual slip yoke, because you're talking about it being 8 splines versus the spline count on the where the axle shaft goes into the cup itself
Right.
is 28 spline. Because typically the rule of thumb is when you go with spline counts, the higher the spline count, the stronger it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, we've all seen morons neutral drop and clutch drop drive shafts in pickups and in Jeeps.
Yeah, I used to do it in a Ford Taurus.
I've done my fair share of neutral drops and clutch dumps. So
All right. Well,
we're not pushing high horsepower, so it would probably I would lean towards it probably be okay. And like I said, Articat's been running that setup in the double X for 5 years now. On rear suspension, not on front suspension.
right. Okay. So hear me out here. All right. The one you're looking at, does it have a reference to an OEM part number?
I believe it does. 1 second here. Because this says location on vehicle, front, left, and right. And then it
Yeah,
gives their
yeah.
SKU number.
They are the same. Like even if
it does not reference a OEM part number.
44 250 HL6 A11.
Oh, yes, it does, Alex.
And what's the number?
42 44 250 HL6 AB1.
Okay, so I'm looking at the Demon right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Demon, all I did was, I went shop make, Honda, Allen, let it load. Honda Talon 1000R Demon heavy duty axle. I click on it. I choose year. They give a year 2019 all the way up to 23.
Right.
So it's going to be front right or front left? Front left. Is it as you're looking at the machine or as you're sitting in it? It's as you're looking at it, right?
No, it's as you're sitting in it.
Okay, so front left.
Driver's side is left side.
So and I click on fitment and it gives a OEM reference number of 44250 HL6 A11.
I'm wondering if, all right, so just hang on a second. I just want to change something real quick. So,
So I went to Babbitt's. I'm on Honda Parts Warehouse.
okay, just hang on a second.
I'm looking at a 2022.
Mhm.
The OEM part number for a 2022 R
Yep.
is 44250 HL6 AB1. So I'm about to go to a 2019 and see if it's that A11.
I'm wondering if they updated parts because Honda likes to update parts every year. Remember? Remember we
Yeah.
ran into this issue with the Rincon,
Yeah, yes,
a
and
2012 frame and a
because all they did was change the color
2015.
code on it, they completely changed the part number.
Yeah, the 2012 to the 2015 was
Or
two
it didn't
different
have
frame
one. Yeah, it
part
didn't have one
numbers,
little tab.
but we were able to pull everything from the 2015 and put it in the 2012 frame when
Mhm.
we did the frame swap because that frame was rotted out.
So I just clicked on a 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go to the R so I can look at an axle here. Front knuckle, and they call it a drive shaft. They don't call it an axle. Front knuckle and drive shaft. What did I say? You said AB1.
Yep, AB1, and you originally said it was AB11 or A11. Sorry.
That's what I said originally, or is that
Mm-hmm.
what I? That's what I said. No, that's what I said. Demon refers it as.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2022 number matched your number.
Mm-hmm.
The demon did not match your number, right?
Yep.
Guess what?
2019 fat matches the demon, right?
Yep, 44250 HL6 A11.
Yep. So I'm looking at Monster. They list two different axles, 2019 to 2021 for the 1000R, and then 22 to 23 for the 1000R. Those are two different axles for
My
the front
question
end.
is there a difference?
There is a difference. There's got to be a difference.
Well, other than the thread pitch, is there a difference in length?
Probably not. I would lean towards it's probably just a thread pitch thing. Um, but dude, I'm looking at these deals for Monster and for a pair of axles for front axles, it's less than $350 for a pair.
That's why I'm wondering if it's just get the
And that's just
monsters.
this hell, a full set is $700. That's front and rears.
That's what I'm
But
saying. I'm
the
wondering if I ought to
the
just get the monsters.
the pair for the front is $359 for both sides, and that's the 44 250 HL6 AB1s.
Mm-hmm.
And you get, it says it covers up to a 4-inch lift, which technically you don't have.
I do, but I don't.
Right. What I'm wondering though is,
So looking at these demons, right?
mhm,
They don't. They really don't have any. So they haven't. Okay, so here it is. You're looking at that one, right? Still,
yeah,
you're looking at. All right. So, other than the heat treat, the 4340 chromoly inner cage, blah blah blah. Like everybody pretty much runs that now, and use it as a selling point. Uh, these axles also utilize a unique double plunge design, which allows them to achieve higher articulation angles approximately. The axles are designed to slide on the bar splines, allowing for 1.5 inches of travel and 40 degrees of articulation over the terrain on the inboard joint. The outboard joint can travel 1/2 inch and swing from 45 to 47 depending on the model. The Demon heavy duty axles are equipped with TPEE, which is thermoplastic polyester elastomer.
Mhm.
Boots, which are stronger, stiffer, more fatigue resistant, puncture resistant, and more temperature resistant than standard OEM boots. Axles use the molybdenum grease, low friction, smooth motion, and that's for the heavy duty. Now let me look at the extreme. So they're saying the outer only has 1/2 inch of movement, so it's got 2 inches of movement.
Yeah, but see that, so these monster axles, it's more angle, more plunge with its inner CV joint design, like an outer joint. It can achieve a 45-degree angle of operation. OEM axles can only operate up to 23 degrees. The telescoping shaft provides 60 millimeters of travel, twice what you get from an OEM axle. The super, I don't care what Super ATV says about their Rhino axles. They're rebranded OEM axles. They are basic. I'm not knocking them, but they're a basic axle. They really are. Now I know Turner builds a badass. They build badass axles. They do. My I like Turner axles. I really do. They make a great product. Um, for what I do, I can't justify the price on them. We've ran some off brand eBay and Amazon axles in machines and had great luck with them. Motive makes a great axle. We've had good luck with them, and
Niche.
Niche was the other one. We've had good luck with those axles.
Now keep that in mind. Those are stock machines.
Absolutely, but they
I
make a
do not
good.
I will not even remotely, if somebody asks me if they should put something like that into something that's been modified, I cannot stand behind doing that.
No, but for an OEM axle replacement, absolutely.
Right.
Um, but Cobra makes a great axle. Um, Demon makes a great axle. Turner makes stellar axles. Um, I'm not knocking any of those products. I personally can't justify that price. I am a broke fool.
That's my deal. As much as I would love to say, man, I'm putting Turner axles into my machine, I can't I can't justify that much money on a trail buggy.
Yes and no. I guess if you bust a couple of axles, they'd have to buy another set of axles because you can't get them warranted. Then you
Yeah, but
later
that's
hindsight's 2020 is like, well, shit, I should have put Turners in, or I should have put Cobras in.
yeah, but what'd you just say? And here's what I'm getting at. What'd you just say about those monsters? A full set of 4 is how much?
Less than $700 for 4 axles. So for the
Less.
price of one of my OEM axles, I can buy a full set of axles for my buggy.
Okay. Now hold on. I'm just spitballing here. Turner Eagle axles start at 580 an axle.
Correct. And that's their low end stuff.
Nitro axles start at 750. Nitro XB axles 850. Like
They make that's just it.
An
They make
axle.
yeah. And that's just it. They make great products, and I know they stand behind their product. And I've seen their products take a beating, and not
I'm not
fail.
I'm not bad mouthing them at all because I have also seen their products take a just ungodly amount of abuse and say, what else you got?
Right.
My personal opinion, I cannot justify that for an axle. And I'm definitely not about to go, all right, I'm going to put one turner and leave two rhinos in. You know what I mean?
No, I got you. I'm the same way. I want my
Like
shit to
if
match.
yeah, if I'm gonna do it, I want now. I don't mind putting fronts and rears being different, but I'm not
Left to
about to have
right, you want
yeah.
it to match. I agree with you
I'm
100%.
not gonna have a turner on
And
one side, a demon on another side, a gorilla in the back, and you know,
well, and not only that, I'm a firm believer too. If you busted a front or a rear axle, you put enough load to bust one of those axles, there's a good possibility that the one on the other side is right behind it. So, that looking at these monster axles, um, I'm like, I don't,
is it worth a shot?
to be honest with you, Alex, I'm kind of I'm kind of interested in it myself. So if I had to replace axles in the KRX, I would probably be looking at these guys.
So
And
I've
they carry all kinds of
I've put
stuff.
the well I put the APB out on some of the Facebook pages, um, Honda Town Portal Squad stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, I've gotten a resounding matter of fact. I'll bring it up just to make sure I don't get any of this information wrong. Oh, look, I have a bunch of notifications. Um,
Like they make arms for the Maverick X3. They make arms for the Pro, the Razor Pro XP.
right.
Um, like they make radius rods, high clearance radius rods. So, and
So,
these are these are fucking nice.
so hear me out here. So one of the a matter of fact, it's an admin. He said he's running monster axles. He's beat the snot out of his after installing them and not a single issue. Another guy, told me that he's running demons. Another guy says that he's running monster axles because of the same issues that I'm having.
Like these guys sell like joint kits, they sell boots, they sell um axles, they sell universal joints, they sell all kinds of stuff. Now,
Hmm?
granted, a lot of the stuff is geared towards your X3s and your razors, but they do carry parts for a lot of other machines too. Four wheelers also. I wish they would.
I'm just really surprised. I
I,
can't say I've never heard about them because I may have, but it's just not they're not up on the list of
it's not a prominent name we hear in the community all the time.
when somebody says, "Hey man, what axles are you running?" That's
What are
not a
these?
name you hear.
What are
You
these
hear
guys?
Demon, you hear Cobra, you hear Gorilla, you hear Turner, you hear Super ATV, Rhinos. I remember when Rhinos were some of the better axles. Now this was a while ago, but
I'm just kind of looking. I'm looking at their warranty because I'm kind of interested on their warranty.
yeah,
So it looks like it is a limited 2 year one-time warranty.
2 year.
One-time warranty. So let's say you bust an axle, you can front passenger side, you warranty that side. You can't warranty that front corner again. Follow what I'm
O-
saying?
Okay. Ding, ding, ding. Honda takes the same ones, left or right.
The Honda does, but
Same.
some of us have 4 different axles for some freaking reason. So there's 2 different types of they have 2 different sites of for the KRX, they have 2 different types or 2 different series of axles. They have the XP series, which
Yep.
is $700 for the full set of 4,
Mm-hmm.
or they just have their full CV axle set, which is $425 for 4 axles. So I'm kind of interested. Are they just standard axles? Oh yeah, so these are just regular 4340 base axles. Hell, they even give spline counts and everything. Ooh, I did not know this, and this is just kind of interesting, just for my stupid brain that piques my
So
interest.
you're
Um,
Captain Slow in it?
well, so I'm looking at the KRX because the KRX does take 4 different axles, right?
Right.
And we thought it was just the rear driver side. Yes, the rear driver side from the factory is left-hand thread.
Right.
I thought the rear axles were the same, minus one side was left-hand thread, the other side isn't.
Right.
That's not the case.
Okay.
The rear left is 815 millimeters compressed length. The rear right is 820 millimeters compressed length.
So a 5 millimeter difference.
There's a 5 millimeter difference. The front is 29 millimeter difference. The front makes sense to me because of the way that the diff is shifted in the frame. Well, it's not that the diff is shifted, it's just the way the diff is built.
Right.
Yeah, and then they have a disclaimer on this one, the $425 one. Axles are made as an OE replacement and not intended for lifted or modified vehicles. And that's just their standard axle. The XP, which is what we were talking about for yours, has that plunge and all that good stuff.
Huh.
So I'm a little interested. I'm a little disappointed in myself that I have not heard of these guys.
Captain Slow ain't so slow. Well, ain't so Captain.
I'm just kind of interested to see what else they got. Well, they got ball joints and rod ends for the KRX.
Right.
Monster heavy duty ball joints. Full set, $100.
Oh no, man.
And they're
Like I said,
reconsoled.
so is it one of those? Do I go ahead and do it? Or do I order the demons?
Uh, to be honest with you, it's up to you. I'm afraid. I'm afraid if you order the Demon Axle, you're gonna have the same issue.
And that's my concern.
Where these monster axles are saying they're designed for a lifted machine up to 4 inches
Right.
to have that 60 millimeters of extra travel. So what's 60 millimeters in inches?
Hmm.
It's all 2.25 inches of extra travel.
And that should technically,
That should fix everything. That's just in that slip yoke. That's not even accounting for what's in the plunge in the cups themselves.
right. So I'm at a crossroads in my life.
If it was me, Alex, this would be the route I would go. I would go with the monster axle because of the slip yoke setup. That's just me personally. After seeing what your machine did,
Monster X. What website?
so I'm gonna send you the link right
A-
now.
ATV parts connection.
Yep. Yep, and just put in where it says what do you just click on driveline, axles, joints, and boots, and then just put in your information. What do you ride? And literally, it pulled right up. It was the first listing, and it's the XP series. Is the one you want? That's the one with the basically the slip yoke. They are kind of a funky looking axle because of that slip yoke. I'm just gonna say.
Monster axles, front pair for Honda Talon 1000R 2022 to 2023, 44 250 HL6 AB1 XP series. You know, looking at these,
Mhm.
I think I've seen these before. I've seen some similar to these before. Where did I see them? They were red.
Oh, that I have no clue. I don't remember seeing red axles like
No,
that. I
we
know I've.
talked. No, we talked about them a long time ago about that because it was that I was like, "What is that?"
Oh, we might have. I remember seeing these
No,
on the back on the rear axles on the Arctic Cat double X's.
that might have been when was it when the X first came out? When the double X first came out?
Yeah. Well, 18 was the first year, and they were having issues with a popping, and they went to that plunge style or that slip yoke style rear axle setup. And I want to say it was 2019, and they did recalls on all the 2018s.
Um, I've seen that design. I'm not saying that's the same one. I'm saying I've seen that design,
But it's
and it was. I want to say it was red.
but that's kind of where I'm at, Alex. I would
Like, and they were super expensive. Like, I was like, because I want to say you and I discussed it, and you're like, yeah, I'm not paying like $9,000 for them.
right.
I mean, they weren't that much. I'm exaggerating, of course.
Right, right.
I might have just found it. Ah, yep. Okay. Ford.
Huh?
Ford, 99 to 2004 Ford Super Duty.
Okay.
Ford Excursion and 99 to 2004 Ford Super Duty front CV drive shaft slip joint types. Yep.
Like that it's not a new design. It might be
No,
new to
no, no.
this industry.
No, I'm not saying it's a new design at all. I'm just when I pulled it up and I seen it's got a fat, the shaft looks fat and then it looks like it chokes down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I've seen that before. Not those particular ones, but I've seen that before. Um, I mean, it's essentially a slip
It's a
yoke,
slip
like a
yoke
yeah, like what you get on a drive shaft.
on a drive shaft, on a tractor, on a PTO drive.
That might be where I probably really seen it on tractors. Pro comp. Ah, nope, there it is. Found it. I actually found it. Like you said, it's not a new design. It's been around forever.
Yeah.
Duralast Gold CV axle B9804N. It's a CV axle for $128 and it fits Cadillac, Chevrolet, and GMC. Cadillac Escalade. Yeah, Escalades, Tahoes.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's
Okay.
not anything new. It's just we just haven't seen it in this industry. That's all.
Well, I guess I might. That might be the move there, dude. Um, and where are these guys located? Jessup, Maryland. Customer support. I might give them a holler tomorrow. Monster Performance Parts.
Yeah, they make a little bit of everything. Like I said, they're more geared towards Razors and X3 just because those are
Every
the
everybody
most
is.
common machines.
Everybody is. Yamaha, Can-Am, John Deere, Cub Cadet, Kubota, Suzuki, Honda, Arctic Cat, Kawasaki, and Polaris. They pretty much name everybody except for Can-Am. But oh wait, sorry. Yeah, Can-Am's there. Because I'm fucking retarded. Um, load. Thank you. Yeah, the only thing I'm seeing for Honda is the axles. Okay. So 350, 990, so less than $400 for two front axles.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cheaper than everything else I've looked at so far.
Yep.
Because the Demon are just over $400. They're $210 a piece, $209 a piece.
Yep. So
Well, all right.
That's kind of where we're at. Um, I think personally with the issue that you're having
Mm-hmm.
with the basically the axle separating, I think that's probably going to be the way to go.
Well, I put in a call to Elite. Um, so hopefully I'll hear back from Anthony on that and see what's up with the possibilities of other things. I discussed it with him earlier, and he said the same thing, that it's the movement just isn't there that's supposed to be there in the axle itself.
Right.
So um we'll see how that goes. But that's definite. I got to get it done by next month because next month is Battle of the Build stop number 2 at Tower Tracks.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm committed on that one. I'm going. So, and then right after that is the STX second annual STX showdown. Um, drag racing bounty holes. Uh, the RC drag race. Like that's a big event for us too.
Mhm.
So, you know, I I, I got to get this handled. I can't just put it on the back burner.
Oh, absolutely. So,
And make sure to listen to next week's episode. I've been doing some editing and getting stuff together. Oh goodness, excuse me. Getting stuff together. So keep an eye out on the TikToks and stuff like that from updates from Mudnats. Um, we're gonna save that. I'm saving that for another episode. I've got a lot of pictures and a lot of stuff that's trickling out into the socials. I don't want to rub it into Aaron's face too much.
yeah, it is what it is.
So,
It is what it is.
Bruce, as soon as Bruce comes back, we're going to talk about that because Bruce was there. He had a good old time, and I have video proof. So, once again, if y'all have any comments or anything, you can email us directly at fullsendpodcastmail@gmail.com. You can hit me up on TikTok, Full Send Off Road Podcast. You can hit up our Instagram at Full Send Off Road Podcast also. And what's your TikTok, Aaron?
My TikTok is Jeep SMP. Don't forget you can also listen on Amazon Music.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Did you get Spotify on there too? I kind of tune you out.
Yeah, no, I didn't say Spotify, but you did.
See, Spotify also.
But make sure if you're watching us on YouTube and go check us out on YouTube and make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to ring that bell for notifications on the next episodes. Hopefully, I know we keep saying soon, 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 but hopefully soon we'll get some of this ironed out and figure out when exactly we're gonna move to the podcast studio. Um, that's also been a work in progress. I'm
All right, so let's
I,
just put that out there. So it is not the podcast
easy.
studio is done. It's us being morons and not knowing how to film.
Yeah, I mean, plain and simple.
That's really what it
It's
boils down to.
it's
It's us.
we're trying to we so it is us. We have Aaron and I can easily make it to the podcast studio and be in the same location at the same time, pretty much any night of the week because we don't live too far away from each other. Bruce is remote, and the problem with that is we're trying to make it look as good as possible to still have him on with us and make it everything work together.
Yeah,
So
we can't do this
I'm not.
without Brucey.
Yeah, I can't do this without Bruce. I need you. Uh, it's it is 100% me being not good at figuring how all that electronic stuff meshes together great.
We're dumb when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, I can hook up internet. I can get the TV to work, but I can't get the camera and the computer and the TV to talk to each other all at once without something overloading somewhere.
Right?
So that's where we're at.
All
And
right.
I'm not good at editing and I'm not good at any of that. So the editing takes twice as long. I'm learning, deal with it. I didn't realize it's as difficult as it is. I thought, ooh, yeah, I can do this. Yeah. Sucks.
We'll figure it out. One way or
I
another way, we'll figure it
we'll
out.
get there. We'll get there, but it's just going to take some time. Once again, we all have full-time jobs outside of this, so this is something we do for fun. Um and just trying to get that information out to everybody and hopefully y'all like listening. I mean, I met some great people at Rednecks with Paychecks that recognized us and said hi and gave them koozies and took pictures.
I
So
have one goal with this whole deal.
be famous.
Nope. I want to sign boobies.
Oh, really? That's what you're gonna go with? That's the answer you're going with.
I don't even want to be famous. I just want to sign boobies.
Bruce, let him sign yours.
Getting him a training bra.
All right, everybody. Look out for next week's episode. Bruce should be back, and we're gonna have some Mud Nats updates. Talk about some of the stuff we saw and other events coming up. So
This right here
yeah,
is coming up real soon, 2024.
I was gonna say that you're wearing 2023. This year's
I know.
2024.
You're
We
right.
haven't seen
It
those
is.
yet. We don't know what those
So,
look like yet.
yeah, they just posted payouts for medium
Yes.
tire and small tire. I just saw that today. So
And they're
decent
pretty
payouts.
pretty good payouts.
I have not seen the payouts for drag racing yet. So, and I believe the RC drag racing is winner take all, run what you brung,
Yes.
is what I have
That's-
heard.
That's the last thing I heard was run what you bring.
We need to get a hold of Brody and
I want to say he posted them, but I'm not 100%. We'll make sure that we get that information on the next one.
yes, absolutely. So, but all
All right. Well, everybody, adios, sayonara. Glad you got to see me.